London is a thriving town in the southeast of England, and on Burton Street, Mayfair, a baby is born that will one day be the best monarch the country has ever had. Elizabeth II, daughter of Elizabeth the Queen Mother, and His Royal Highness George VI, was born into an empire ruled by His Majesty George VI, but because of a shift of the throne of England, it will one day all be hers. Princess Margaret Elizabeth, sister and Duchess of Snowdon, was born in Glamis Castle, Scotland. She would become one of the first royals in decades to be Scottish-born. On the 20th of January 1936, His Majesty George V died and changed the course of the royal family forever. Edward VIII, Princess Elizabeth's uncle, has ascended to the throne of the United Kingdom, although he won't be there for long due to his girlfriend and future wife was an American divorcee, and not even a part of the aristocracy. Wallis Simpson was born in Michigan, United States, 1896, and was married to King Edward in 1937, but her dream would soon be over as being Queen Consort. Edward VIII abdicates from the throne and passes the responsibilities to his brother George VI, Princess Elizabeth's father, although he is not ready to take the throne due to it being so stressful, and his stammer he developed as a child due to his nanny who neglected him. So I shall play the speech now. Coronation Day is upon us, and the second son of George V, George, formerly known as Bertie, has taken the throne of England, and one of the most important things is that now Princess Elizabeth is in line for the throne. The Germans, under their fascist government, had waged war with Europe, and the British had to fight them by ourselves, although America, the New World, would come to help in the near future. Propaganda started to pop up everywhere, showing patriotic soldiers willing to fight, and women working in factories helping the war effort. Neville Chamberlain, Prime Minister, resigns, and Winston Churchill was now the Prime Minister. He would become the most influential British Prime Minister in history. Although not allowed to express his political feelings, George VI had said he had faith in him. The Battle of Britain begins, and if the British lost, we would be under the rule of German tyranny. The The German bombers started to night raise the streets of England by mass bombing raids over London, Coventry, and Leeds, etc. One of the worst would be Coventry. The Germans flattened the poor northern city. Even the royal family gets affected by this, because their luxurious home of Buckingham Palace had been bombed. But despite all this, Princess Elizabeth and her sister Margaret talked to the children of the Empire during Children's Hour, and I shall play it now.
In wishing you all good evening, I feel that I am speaking to friends and companions who have shared with my sister and myself many a happy children's hour. Thousands of you in this country have had to leave your homes and be separated from your fathers and mothers. My sister Margaret Rose and I feel so much for you, as we know from experience what it means to be away from those we love most of all. To you living in new surroundings, we send a message of true sympathy, and at the same time we would like to thank the kind people who have welcomed you to their homes in the country. All of us children who are still at home think continually of our friends and relations who have gone overseas, who have travelled thousands of miles to find a wartime home and a kindly welcome in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United States of America. My sister and I feel we know quite a lot about these countries. Our father and mother have so often talked to us of their visits to different parts of the world. So it is not difficult for us to picture the sort of life you are all leading, and to think of all the new sights you must be seeing, and the adventures you must be having. But I am sure that you too are often thinking of the old country. I know you won't forget us. It is just because we are not forgetting you that I want, on behalf of all the children at home, to send you our love and best wishes, to you and to your kind hosts as well. Before I finish, I can truthfully say to you all that we children at home are full of cheerfulness and courage. We are trying to do all we can to help our gallant sailors, soldiers, and airmen. And we are trying, too, to bear our own share of the danger and sadness of war. We know, every one of us, that in the end all will be well, for God will care for us and give us victory and peace. And when peace comes, remember, it will be for us, the children of today, to make the world of tomorrow a better and happier place. My sister is by my side, and we are both going to say good night to you. Come on, Margaret. Good night, children. Good night, and good luck to you all.
Normandy landings had started to take place, and this was the beginning of the end for the newly formed German Empire. The Allies had won the war, and the whole country partied, and there were street gatherings and cheers cried all over Europe. Princess Elizabeth gets married to Philip Mountbatten, a Greek soldier fighting in the Royal Navy. Although of royal descent, he and his family are abolished from Greece due to a civil war, which will one day soon become a republic. Prince Charles, Elizabeth's oldest son, is born. He is the heir to the throne of England and will soon become the Prince of Wales. The death of George VI shakes the empire, as now Princess Elizabeth is now on a royal tour of South Africa with her husband, Philip Mountbatten. She will now become queen. His Majesty George VI died of severe lung cancer due to smoking. Elizabeth, or now Elizabeth Regina, has taken to the throne. The coronation has begun. This will be the start of the Queen's rule and one of the most famous and memorable times in British history. The Queen makes her first state visit to West Germany. This is the part the British owned after World War II. This is the Queen's Silver Jubilee. It celebrates the 25 years that have passed since she ascended to the throne. Princess Diana and Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, are married at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Although 16 years later, she would die in a car crash in France, and the royal family and the country had lost a dear friend. The Queen's Golden Jubilee began, and our great monarch was on the path to become one of the oldest rulers in the country. Her Majesty became the oldest reigning British monarch in history, and in third place for the world's longest reigning. His Royal Highness Philip Mountbatten dies at the age of 99. May God rest his soul. The Platinum Jubilee begins, and the country is full of royal pomp and happiness. The people are happy. This is where we have reached in Her Majesty's timeline. We cannot predict the future, nor live the past, but we can appreciate the present, so I say to you all, God save the Queen.